Welcome to the Event Connection, where we explore the stories, trends, and unforgettable moments that are shaping our industry. We'll uncover the human side of events and celebrate the power of engagement and connection, all while having a little fun. This podcast is produced by PC Nametag.
Welcome to the Event Connection podcast, and today we are going to talk about a topic that I am super excited to chat about, and I have one of the best in the industry here to tell us a little bit more about it. Today we are going to talk about how to leverage your MC to create a more engaging event, and today I have with us today Roger Wolkoff. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Meaghan.
Roger is a professional speaker and MC, and he brings over 20 years of experience to the industry. So I know that I'm going to learn a ton from you today and how to use your MC to create a more memorable event experience.
Excellent.
All right. Before we get started, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and what you do. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So for the past 10 years, I started my company. I'm a professional speaker, and I evolved into being a professional coach. And then I added MC to the mix as well as voiceover. So I've added a lot around the voice. But the one thing I decided about 10 years ago, evolving out of being a project manager, I used to get a lot of teams together. And so I thought I like the softer side of the team building part, bringing people together. And so I latched onto emotional intelligence and personality tests like DISC. And that's what I do. I go and I coach and I speak about those two things.
I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that in a second, but
Sure.
I love to ask our guests, what is one interesting fact about yourself?
Oh, goodness. I love to play pinball.
Okay. I don't know too much about pinball.
So if you're under 35, go Google pinball. When I was a kid growing up, I loved to play the machines. I just begged for quarters. And there are groups around the country and the world where we do competitive pinball. You play, matches and things like that, and it's really in the name of fun. So yeah, I love to play pinball in my spare time.
Interesting. Maybe I'll have to take up pinball in my spare time.
You should.
You inspired me.
Oh, you bet.
So another thing I wanted to ask you about, I feel like every speaker that I meet has some interesting origin story of how they got into speaking or a passion that sparked them to want to do public speaking. Do you have an interesting story to share?
I think it's interesting. For me, I was alluding to it before. I always enjoyed getting up in front of people. Before I was a project manager, I did technical training. And the technical training was really computer training, software training. So I don't mind getting up in front of people. There's probably about 8 to 10% of the population that doesn't mind that. And, a lot of people would rather do anything than get up in front of a group of people. But I'd done theater for a while and things like that. But what inspired me was the part about teaching the soft skills to people, noticing, people's behavior and things like that. So my origin story was, I didn't know you could get paid to get up in front of people and speak, on a niche topic. And when I found that out, I made the switch, and the company I was with was downsizing, and I said, let's take the leap and let's do it. So I found a group in town, the local National Speakers Association of Wisconsin, went to a meeting, and I was hooked.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that only 8 to 10% of, people are really excited and willing to get up and do public speaking. So that kind of makes you part of a special percentage.
Right. We all have our superpower.
So I want to ask you a little bit more about DISC assessments and
Sure.
coaching people. That's something that you're interested in, is figuring out how people tick with DISC assessments. Could you tell us a little bit more about what interests you with DISC assessments?
Yeah. And I'm doing it right now. I'm assessing. No, I'm not doing it. Meaghan's going to sit here like, no, don't do that. Honestly, I've been fascinated with human behavior for a long time, and everything that I've done, I think, has touched on that. So the next logical step for me was trying to think about, well, what else can you do with that? Now, the DISC assessment is one of many personality instruments that people can use. There's Myers-Briggs, there's the Enneagram. There are all kinds of tests out there, Strengths Finder. I'm a big fan of them all. You might say I'm an assessment junkie. And what I love about the DISC part The DISC model puts you into one of 4 quadrants: D, I, S, or C: dominant, influential, steadiness, or conscientiousness. We have all the types in us. It's just which one do we prefer more? Like, what is our go-to? Where are we most comfortable? And leading with those strengths is what fascinates me. Early in my career, I would see managers and people try to try to just hammer too hard on people's deficiencies. I'm all in favor of, trying to, level up your, where you might not be strongest. What I didn't see was a lot of emphasizing strengths or leading with what is your superpower or your comfort zone. And so what I love about it, what I love about doing with DISC is helping teams and individuals build on those strengths and identify what barriers there are. I think the idea here is that it's all about transformation. And that's what I love about DISC and coaching and talking about DISC.
I took the DISC assessment very recently,
Did
and
you now?
I ranked very highly in S and C, which I believe is supportive and conscientious.
Yes,
So
yes.
that taught me a little bit about myself. And I think it's cool to not only learn about yourself, but if you have other people on your team or on
Yeah.
your event team take it, you can kind of figure out how they communicate best and then
Right.
work with that to make sure that you're communicating well.
100%. It's meant to be a great communication tool, and with all assessments, I think they're meant to spark questions in ourselves and how you approach somebody else with how they prefer to be spoken to, communicated with, or how they act in crisis or conflict.
Love that. You also mentioned that you were a part of the National Speakers Association. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you are involved?
Sure, I'd love to. So National Speakers Association, it's for speakers, anyone who does speaking or any kind of speaking, whether you're a trainer, coach, anything like that. It's not just keynote speeches and big speeches like that. So how I got involved, there's the national organization, nsa.org, and it's the national group of speakers. I got involved. I was looking around for a local chapter, and the local chapter is NSA, Wisconsin. And it's the oldest state chapter. We were the first. We're actually celebrating 40 years this year. So I joined about 10 years ago, and it was really interesting. When I walked in the room, I got involved immediately. They were so welcoming, And so what I found out is there was an academy to teach you how to speak, and it's about the business of professional speaking. It's about stagecraft. It's all about different kinds of things like that. But it's the business of professional speaking. So fast forward, I graduated the academy, and they asked me to teach the academy for 2 years, which was a great honor because I love teaching. And then I got on the board. And then I was the president of the chapter about 2 years ago. And one of the things I enjoyed most was bringing in programming, right? Other speakers to tell us how they do it, what their specialties are. The best thing I can say about National Speakers Association is that it's a group of incredibly supportive, non-competitive people. And when people first told me that, I was a little suspect. Come on, everybody's after business. But the concept is, there's a big pie out there, and there's enough pieces of the pie for everyone who wants to be a speaker. And I've seen that year after year with the organization. Even when I go up against another speaker for a job, it's fine because I know they're going to get the client is going to get the best. So that's how I got involved.
You come from kind of an interesting background where you have this element of being a speaker, and then you also come from being an MC. Do you feel like being a speaker first has kind of helped you grow as an MC as well?
It has. You learn what works, what doesn't work. You get comfortable on the stage. You get some different timing things going on. But everything that I learned about being a good speaker totally translates into being a great MC. And we can dive into that a little bit. But yeah, being a speaker helped tremendously.
Great. So we're going to talk about what an MC is, but first, I thought it'd be fun to ask you some two fun questions to
Sure.
kind of kick it off a little bit. So if you could pick 3 words that describe your style as an MC, what would you pick?
I would pick engaging, witty, and approachable. I think those are the three that I would pick that just best describe my style.
I would pick similar words for you.
Yeah.
I think you're really great at bringing humor to events and getting people laughing and engaging and having fun. But we'll get to that soon.
Okay, sure.
Another fun question that I have for you is if you could co-MC any event with a celebrity,
Ooh.
living or dead, who would you pick and why?
Oh my goodness, what a great question. I would say the first person that pops into mind is Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy. Now, some people might not like him so much. He can be a little irreverent. I'll tell you, from my standpoint, what I like about him is I believe he has intellectual type humor, and that smart humor that I find is funny. Now, sometimes it does go a little too far in some people's taste, but why would I choose him to co-host? I just think it would be funny as heck to just go back and forth with somebody like that. Just a master at being able to make an audience laugh or come up with things on the spot. So yeah, I guess I'd pick him.
Takes talent to be witty with an audience.
I think it does.
So we have event planners of all different levels listening to this podcast. So I thought we could start at the beginning and talk about what an MC is. So in your words, how would you describe what an MC is and does at an event?
Yeah. What do we do? I look at my role when I'm an MC and others that I've seen. We're like the glue that holds the event together, the actual event, the live part, the part that happens together. We can be that so much. We can be the point people, and we can do that in a number of ways. So the one thing you want to make sure is that your event is going on time. So we're the timekeeper. We can also be a content thread. That's one of the roles I enjoy most, is being that content thread. So making little summaries of what you're hearing along the way. Like I pick out like the top 3 things I might hear from a speaker. I'm like, here, I learned this, and I learned this. What did you pick up out of that? So giving it back to the audience, their time for reflection. So I think an MC, also from the beginning and to the end of the event, so the beginning, middle, and end of the event, the middle being the actual part of the event, we can be your, I don't know, Yoda or Sherpa. We can be that person helping you along the way. If you're an experienced event planner, fantastic, right? Then maybe use me to say, hey, what are you seeing out there? What have you seen? And I can bring that to the table. Or if you are new or you're looking to do something different, you call on an MC like me, and I can say, well, again, here's what I'm seeing is going on. You might want to add this, this type of event or this type of intermission. But the biggest thing, I think, to sum it all up, is we can help you keep the flow going. And that can be whether it's your planned script, or get this, sometimes you go off script. We can be that adaptable person that you can put out there to keep things moving so that your audience knows what's going on. Every time you see me, every time you see the MC on stage, we're that consistent point of reference for them. It's like, oh, that guy in the black shirt is coming up again. There must be something coming up. Oh, good, he's announcing lunch.
We're ready to go.
We're ready to go to lunch. Or, he's going to introduce something else, or something else is going to happen here. So we're that conduit and that kind of connection and comfort for the audience.
Mm-hmm. I never thought about how you might have this agenda and you have all the different things on the agenda, but you kind of need to have that connector between the different activities that you do. It makes it more smooth of a transition.
Right. And that's what you're going for, seamless transition from one thing to the next, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. You're also a timekeeper, making sure that, the agenda stays on time. Another big thing that I learned that MCs do is making sure, if speakers are feeling a little nervous or, just getting them, calm and in the mindset of getting on stage and helping them feel confident.
Right. I've been that for seasoned speakers or new speakers, whatever it is. Sometimes my spidey sense clicks in, and you can see they're a little nervous, they're jittery, their face is kind of contorted, and just even 10 minutes, 5 minutes before they're about to go on, when you're backstage in the wings, just giving them a nice talk, or knowing when to leave them alone. But yeah, knowing how to deliver the best event possible for the event planner and who's trying to create the best event possible for their audience.
So let's say that I'm an event planner and I know that I need an MC. What are some qualities that maybe I might want to look for in an MC when I'm finding someone who would be perfect for my event?
Yeah, that's a great question, Megan, and it depends on the event. I think, do you want someone who has a lot of energy, high energy? Great. Do you want an entertainer? There are a lot of entertainer type MCs, people who are jugglers, magicians, musicians. They can add that there. Do you want someone who adds the humor, can add, be witty on the fly? I think that's one of the things that I do is I'm pretty adaptable to situations, when I come in. So that's something you want. You want someone who is going to deliver, that time management when you want it. So if they tell you, hey, this speaker needs to cut their speech 15 minutes, you need to know that they need to know that I've got their back and said, I will go out there, absent the long cane to, pull them off. Just, it's time for them to come off. What else do you look for? That stage presence, charisma, someone who is comfortable on the stage. You can tell they've had some training or some education about how to be on the stage. Those are a lot of the things that you want. And you want someone who, is a good partner. It's a fit. Just like if you're hiring, because like I said, I want to be with you, at least to this extent. You can hire me just for the event, but it's best if you hire me so we can talk before, during, and after, because I'm there to make you look good.
I think one thing that you are specifically very good at is improving.
Yeah.
Because I have seen Roger do emceeing at multiple events now. And there was this one event, it was the MPI Wisconsin Spring Education Day.
Right.
And there was a chunk in the agenda where they were supposed to have a speaker, but the speaker was feeling ill. So what do we do in that 10 to 15 minutes? Roger gets up there and he's just, improving, getting down and asking the attendees questions, getting them laughing. It was amazing to me because that takes talent to be able to do.
It does. And I was talking about superpowers before. So I think of it as a talent. It's something that comes natural to me. And what I did then was I try to tune it to the event. So I came off the stage, right? I wasn't just standing up there. And just asked a bunch of questions, and they were open. And the key is knowing if you're going to ask open-ended questions, know that you're going to get some open-ended answers, right? And to be able to work with that. So I go down off the stage with a set of boundary. I know, let's watch the swearing, let's watch watch how some appropriate or inappropriate content. And I remember asking a question, what's the worst, I did this, I set this up. What's the worst event you ever managed, event planners, and what's the best? I was going to follow it up with, with what's the best. And the worst one just came out, what's the worst request you ever had? And somebody came up with something that was just off the wall. And I know that from my experience as a speaker and as an MC. And I roll with it. I think that's one of the things that I bring to the table is I can't script that stuff. And I think I have enough in my back pocket or up here to know that I can make some kind of connection to either make it funny or appropriate or to connect it to something that we've done. So I enjoy doing that. And those are the moments that you can't plan for. And I enjoy that about being an MC.
The MPI Wisconsin Spring Education Day that I was just speaking about, you knew who the audience was. It was a bunch of event professionals. So you kind of did your research to figure out who was going to be the audience and figuring out, okay, how can I kind of read the room? So I wanted to ask you, do you have any tips or tricks about how you read the room and make sure that you're going to jive with what the audience wants?
Yeah, great question. It starts the moment I get to the event. So I try to get there as soon as possible. So a couple of times it happens. The event you were talking about, MPI had an event the night before. And so I made sure I was at the event the night before. It was a social event. It was a casino night. It was fun. I love it. Who doesn't love to gamble? What was really fun, though, was getting to see what was going on, like how people were interacting with each other there. Pretty jovial. The next day, making sure that I'm down in time early enough before I'm going to go up on stage to meet and mingle with people at the tables or at the break time or whatever it is, just to hear what's going on, whatever stories they might have, so that it's something I can refer to. I don't know how many times you've seen this, but I did this at MPI where I was like, hey, at my table, we were talking about how the keynote speaker talked about this. What a fascinating connection to how we're going to talk about whatever. So being able to do that in the moment is how I read the whole event. And the last part, Meaghan, is like when you get up there, like when you get up to read, how do I read the audience? It's like I don't know, maybe a super sensitivity to just seeing how people are responding to what's going on the stage before I get up there, and how they're responding to other speakers or what else is going on in the room, as well as being able to look out in the audience and make eye contact with a few people.
I like that little tip of actually chatting with people to figure out what will resonate with them, and then how can I kind of riff on that and tie that in with, how I speak as an MC.
100%. Yeah.
Great. I was going to ask you another quick question is, let's say you are on stage and you're kind of feeling like the audience is a little maybe tired or sleepy. What's your quick tip for, getting them excited to engage and interact with you?
You mean like after lunch? Or dinner.
Yeah, right. Exactly. When everyone's fallen asleep.
To the extent possible, I always have a stand up, move around, couple of events, a couple of activities, in my back pocket to do that. I think I did that one. I think I did one of them when we were at MPI. But yeah, just something to get them up moving, or conversing with their neighbor. Ask your neighbor, what they're enjoying most about the event, or ask your neighbor something. But just to get people engaged, get their brains and their bodies moving. So any kind of physical activity. But yeah, you can usually tell pretty quick when people are a little sleepy, a little tired, or they need some motivation.
I went to an event that Roger emceed, and it was the Last Story Standing event through the National Speakers Association Wisconsin chapter. That was great, by the way. If you can make it out to the next one, I would definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Something that you did that I really liked was you engaged the audience by asking questions. Mm-hmm. So this event specifically was about storytelling. So you were asking questions. What words come to mind when you think of storytelling? Just shout it out. You're, calling out people's answers, and you're getting people to want to wake up and engage and have fun. And I really like that. Or like, tell me your favorite story and why. Mm-hmm. And people were volunteering to share their stories. So I feel like that can make the audience feel like they have a stake in the event, and kind of bridging that gap between, I'm up on stage, you're sitting in the audience.
Right.
How can we meet in the middle?
Right. What a great question. And I'm glad you brought that one up. I'm glad you were there for that, because that was fun. The reason, the story behind why I did that, I was asked by our event coordinator to go fill in. You have 10 minutes.
Like, what do I do?
And I didn't know that I was going to have to do that at that moment. All she said to me was, go fill 10 minutes. Bye. And then she was off.
You're like, all right. So what do I decide to do?
Right. And so between the time I was in the wings to the time I got to the front of the stage was when all of that started cooking. About let's ask about story. Let's have people shout things out. It was pretty much like what my speaking is, right? You're asking how speaking prepares you. So it was that question and answer, question response type of thing. And if you remember, right, some people came up with some really interesting stuff, because I think if I remember, one of the questions was, what's your favorite place to go on vacation? Because vacation always creates story.
Everyone
right?
wants to talk about that.
Right, everybody. And they did, right? And so whatever they come up with, like I can't plan, but you can have some fun with, and you can go just so far where you're not making it a joke at their expense. You're making you're having fun with whatever they're saying, because somebody brought up, and apologies to anybody from this state, but somebody said, oh, we went to Mississippi. And I was like, okay, that's a vacation. Yeah.
And you're getting people laughing.
Right. Mississippi's a great state, everybody. But, in the context, right, being here in Wisconsin, we're like, okay, why did you go? And they were like, oh, we went for this and this and this. It was a beautiful story for them. But yeah, anytime you can get the audience engaged, because sometimes you're right. I love what you said. They're sitting there on the edge of their seat, itching to tell their story.
I love that. So it sounds like you're a very communicative MC, both with the audience and with the event planners that you work with. So I kind of want to shift gears into event planning territory.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, do you do pre-meetings with event planners and or post meetings? And what do you try to accomplish with those to kind of make sure that they get the most out of the experience when they work with you?
Yeah. Great softball question, Meaghan. I love that one. Yes, pre and post meetings, in my opinion, are essential. So to event planners who are listening, I think they are with your MC. I would caution against just thinking that your MC is talent that just goes out there. Now you can hire an MC. A lot of people hire MCs for events where they're local news talent or something like that, local celebrities. That's great. That's fine, and they're well tuned to doing that. I would suggest, I highly recommend doing a pre-meeting and post-meeting. The value of the pre-meeting is, as I said before, like we get on the same page. I know your style, you know my style. I know what works for you. I could almost, kind of be inside your head if we have a couple of meetings. Like I can tell after we meet for a little bit what's important to you. I can tell if it's the detail, if it's the timing, if it's, the overall experience, whatever it happens to be. I try to tune into that. And I ask deliberately, I would say, Meaghan, what is the most important thing that you want people to walk away from with this event? And the education or I just want to make sure that they're entertained. Hey, this is a day off for everybody, and we want to make sure that they're feeling this by the end. So as much as you can do pre-meeting, you're on the same page. And I also think you want to work with the MC. You want to work with me after, because I'm your eyes and ears as well. And I'm going to give you everything that I heard in the hallways, in my conversations, the vibe that I felt from the event, the vibe I tried to deliver, and, tell you whether or not that came off. And you get to share with me too, whether or not you thought that happened. And I always like to leave everybody with, hey, if you're going to do this next time, here are some ways that you can take it from here to here. And totally their choice. But I think that's the value of why you hire and pay good money for an MC.
And maybe if you're an event professional and you haven't even thought about that thing that the MC suggests, it's like, I didn't even, consider that. Maybe I'll do that for next time. And all of a sudden you have this even better event just by communicating.
Right. And I will tell you, it's not a shameless plug, but it can be if you want to think of it that way. You see your ratings can increase too. A lot of times meeting planners are going off the surveys, right? How is this? How are the breakouts? How was the food? How was the event? How was this? But when you look at overall experience, like when people have that comfort and connection with that person on stage, it goes a long way. I like to tell event planners, you hire me, so I got you on the front of stage. You know that I have the front of stage covered so that you can go and take care of anything that's going on back of stage. And you communicate to me what you want to have happen out front. And that way I'm delivering what you're expecting up front.
It's also good to check in with the event planner. Maybe there are some things that are off limits, let's say. So maybe this isn't an audience that needs humor, for example. Maybe I shift more into being a content connector.
Exactly. And I always ask that, how much humor do you want? Do you not want it? Is this a serious topic? Yeah, I always want to know going in. I don't want to assume that you hired me as the witty MC. You wanted the connector MC more? Okay, I'll bring that persona more, or I'll focus on those skills more than the other ones. 100%.
Fun question for you. Do you have a favorite event that you've ever emceed?
Oh, goodness. I do enjoy hosting my chapter events. It's the NSA events. Those are always fun because I get the privilege and honor to introduce my friends and people I know along the way. One of the fun ones I did was for the small business owners community in Milwaukee. It's a group run by Pat Miller, and it was a 2.5-day event. And Pat hired me because the year before he was just drained, and he had so much. Not only was he the coordinator, he was the MC and all of that. By the end of it, he was just spent. And so I put a bug in his ear. I said, "Hey, what if?" And thank goodness he trusted me to be that front of stage person to help coordinate everything. And it took a huge load off of him so that he could run everything backstage and up front. But I got to introduce a lot of fun people in that event. I've been going to it for a number of years, but that was one of my favorites.
It sounds like an MC is a very important person on your event team. You can really lean into them in a lot of different ways. So I like that you bring that extra bit of talent to the experience.
You can, if that's what you're looking for and you have room in your budget for it, I think it's one of the best ways to go if you're looking to amp up your event.
I have a fun question for you. So let's say that you're about to get on stage as the MC. Do you have any rituals that you kind of do to get excited and ready to get on stage? Do you drink, 5 cups of coffee, or do are you jumping around doing a little dance? Anything fun?
Oh, great question. Boy, all of those you mentioned, people do. Some people make sure they're highly caffeinated. Before I go on, if it's a high energy event, I'm playing a little rock music, a little Thunderstruck, sometimes Higher by Creed. I got my own music set, so I like to listen to something that kind of pumps you up. And right before I'm about to go on, every time it's countdown from 5 to 1, big breath in, big breath out, huge smile, walk out, standing tall. Yeah, that's my ritual.
I love that. And I'm sure you have learned a lot of those things through being a speaker as well. Through the NSA, you learn a lot of those tips and tricks for being more confident and getting on the stage and doing a great job.
Yeah, exactly.
I know all of us listening and watching want to know, have you ever had any big uh-oh moments while you were on stage or emceeing at an event?
Never.
Never. He's perfect.
I'm lying. They always happen. One that happened to me, that happened to one of our speakers at the event you were at with the MPI, fire alarm going off.
Yep, I was there. That was, completely unexpected. So
it goes off, and depending on the severity, right? You hear everything is clear, you're fine. You pick up where you went off. Which is why, as a speaker or as an MC, you always want to know what the safety protocols are before you get on the stage. Just know where the exits are. Just any kind of thing that could happen, how severe it is, fire or otherwise. So that was one. The other one that happened to me as an MC, I was the MC for the after dinner entertainment, and there were a couple of tables that had been served a little more alcohol,
right?
And perhaps it turned into one of those kind of catcalling things from the audience, and just roll with it as much as possible. Let them get it out and let it go. But I've been fortunate; not too much has happened. But the only other thing I would say about that is stay tuned in to events that are happening the day before. Read the news, and also read the news when you're presenting, or stay tuned in. Don't just kind of look at the headlines. I was at an event, and I could tell something. Talk about reading the audience. Something happened in the audience, like the mood shifted, and you could see people just looking at their phones. A lot. I mean, a lot more than usual. It turned out there was an active shooter event, not in the state, or not at the event I was at, but it was a large one, and I can't remember which one. But being tuned into that and knowing, so that when you come out, I work with the event planner just to make sure that we're on the same page. What do you want me to address? Do you want to address it? Do do we just want to? How do you want to deal with it? So that kind of thing, and adapting. But those are some uh-ohs.
Right. That kind of comes back to reading the room, and
right.
In that moment, instead of going with your regular humorous approach per se, let's say. That might be an example of how we're adapting to what's happening in the industry,
right?
And, making sure that we're being appropriate to the tone of the event.
100%.
So that got a little heavy. So I thought we could, maybe flip it around a little bit. So have you ever interacted with someone in the audience and it kind of went hilariously off script, or just made you laugh?
Yeah, it does. People surprise me, and they're so fun. It's fun to find those people. I used to, one of the ones I do, like when one of the ones I ask is, what's your favorite way to, as a team to meet with people? And invariably people are like, oh, happy hour, sitting down at the bar, oh yeah, what's your favorite bar? And they always talk about where it is. And then I get in, what's your favorite drink? And they start talking about that. And I say, can you make one? And they're like, yes. And, I kid around. It's kind of a go-to. I'm like, okay, y'all talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna sit over here and get educated, something like that. Another one that I've done is when I do appreciation things, like we talk about what's the best corporate gift and the worst corporate gift you've ever gotten.
Ooh, I'd be curious what people would have to say about that.
Okay, so I think this is appropriate and inbounds. This is I couldn't believe this came out of somebody's mouth. Like, what do you do, right? When you get this answer. So I walk over, this woman says, I got one. And she said, what's the worst one you ever got? And she says, lingerie. I'm like, what?
Like, oh, why'd that come out?
Why did that come out? And why wasn't it on your best received? Anyway.
It's like, let's, diffuse the
right,
awkwardness.
diffuse it a little bit. But then, but it's being able to diffuse it and move on or go. Then it's like, okay, we've heard enough worst. Let's go to best.
Perfect. What is your favorite part about being an MC?
The people part, being able to interact with the audience. That's number one. And number two is learning from the great event industry. And not every event is the same. But knowing that every time that I walk into a room, it's going to be a new experience for me and for them. So being able to be that conduit, because that's really what it is. It's not about me. It's about them and helping them have the best event possible. That's what I enjoy.
I've spoken to so many event planners, and every single one of them, when I ask what their favorite part of the industry is, they say the people.
Yeah.
So there's just so many things to learn,
Right.
and event planners specifically, I love that they're so eager to learn. They want to try new things. They want to work with new people.
Right.
So I love that mentality that they bring to the industry.
Yeah. And that's how you and I met.
Exactly.
Right? Just by being at an event together and just in my role, but just being able to communicate with people and find out what makes them tick and what they do.
Is there anything difficult about being an MC?
There can be. There's some moments that get to the edge, whether it's an uncomfortable moment, an awkward moment, a serious moment, and knowing that I don't have to do this by myself. Also knowing that if I have to, I can. But those kinds of things can be difficult. It can also be difficult on the time management side when you have to be the bearer of bad news to the speaker who thought they had an hour and now they only have 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a joint message. So what takes that back from a moment of conflict to a moment of collaboration is being able to talk with the event planner and the speaker and be able to say, hey, what can we do together to make this work so that you get your time, everybody gets the best experience. So again, working with everybody just to get it there. So those are some of the tougher parts.
So I have this exciting guide that the National Speakers Association has created. It's called Leveraging an MC for Event Success. And if you want a copy of it, let us know. And we'll let you know how to get a copy at the end of this podcast. But I read through this guide. It was amazing. I learned so many different things about MCs. And my next question for you is there anything people would be surprised about your job as an MC? And I would say, I can't speak for you, but yeah. The one thing that I learned while reading this guide from the National Speakers Association is I was amazed that you're almost a part of the crisis management team as well for events. So
Yeah.
you want to, make sure that if the fire alarm goes off, am I announcing to have people move out of the room and exit the venue? So I thought that kind of surprised me that you are part of the crisis management team.
Meaghan, it surprised me too when I first started.
You're like, I had no idea.
I really didn't until one of our speaker friends, Lisa Hain, who is a safety instructor, brought it up to us about 4 or 5 years ago as speakers. And I thought, oh my gosh, I guess I am, because you're the point person. So that was one of the bigger surprises that came along with being an MC, that, oh my gosh, there's this position of responsibility and almost authority in the moment that I have. And it's a big responsibility. I take it seriously. I know my friends who help create the document, we talk about that, and we knew it was an important thing to put in there.
Definitely. One last piece of advice for you to share with our event planners. What is one way that event planners can bring more excitement and engagement through their events for their events through MCs?
Try it out. If you, I know times it depends on where we are in the economy and what budgets look like, but if you have the bandwidth and the resources to hire an MC, I'd say give it a go. There are many of us, if I always say, if I'm not the right person, I get it. I know people who can be. I'd be happy to refer. But I would tell event planners, give it a go. If you're looking to mix things up, if you tried an MC before and it didn't work, sometimes you have Patty from marketing or Joe from accounting, and they don't quite work out as your MC. That's fine, and there are plenty of people, who can do it. But if you wanna level it up, try working with an MC from the beginning, middle, and end, and see what it does for you.
Great. How do we stay in contact with you and hire you for our events?
Oh yeah, thank you. Just look up Roger Wolkoff, RogerWolkoff. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Roger at rogerwolkoff.com. Rogerwolkoff.com is my website, and my phone number is up there too. So please reach out if you just want to have a conversation, to see if it's a fit. There's always a free consultative call. I mean, let's do that. Let's get in touch with each other.
I would definitely recommend reaching out to Roger. He's incredibly talented, and I'm not just saying that. You are incredibly talented. So definitely recommend if you just want to chat about, hiring an MC and what that all involves, definitely recommend reaching out to Roger. And I also wanted to give just a quick shout out to the National Speakers Association. We have attended events for the Wisconsin chapter, but if you are interested in speaking to any capacity, check if there's a local chapter in your area and check it out. It's not a bad idea to just see what it's all about. And as Roger mentioned, you don't need to be a keynote speaker. If you speak to any capacity, you can find a lot of great resources through your local chapter.
Always happy to guide people that way.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me today, Roger. I learned so much from you, and I really appreciate your time. And I learned so much about emceeing, and I think event planners as well will also take a lot from this podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Meaghan.
As I mentioned, if you want a copy of the NSA, How to Leverage Your MC for Event Success, you can email eventconnection@gmail.com, and we will send you a copy. Thanks so much, and make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you get our podcasts.